chosen ones. There's something happening to you right now that's so twisted, so backwards, it would make your head spin if you truly understood the depth of it. The very people who criticize you, who put you down, who make you question your worth, they're secretly envious of the exact qualities they're attacking you for. But here's where it gets absolutely insane. They're not just jealous of your gifts, your strength, or your ability to rise above their toxicity. They're actually envious of the fact that you have haters at all. Psychological studies show that people who face consistent opposition often develop unprecedented levels of resilience and authentic power. While others crumble under the slightest criticism, you've been forged in the fires of constant spiritual warfare. Every attack has made you stronger, every betrayal has sharpened your discernment, and every person who walked away revealed their true character. The universe has been training you, chosen one, through a curriculum that would destroy ordinary souls. But right now there are people in your life who are watching your every move with a mixture of fascination and fury. They see how you handle pressure, how you maintain your authenticity despite constant judgment, and how you continue to attract opportunities and people even when others try to sabotage you. This isn't coincidence. This is your spiritual signature radiating through dimensions they can't even comprehend. The twist that's about to blow your mind is this: the very people who claim to want to help you, who position themselves as your allies, who say they understand your struggles, some of them are your biggest enemies. They're studying your responses to their manufactured dramas, taking notes on your weaknesses, and reporting back to a network of jealous souls who simply cannot understand how you keep winning despite everything they throw at you. I'm about to reveal the hidden mechanics of why you attract such intense reactions from people, why your mere existence seems to trigger warfare in others, and how your spiritual ranking operates on a level that makes lower vibrational beings literally lose their minds with envy. By the time we're done here, you'll understand why your life has felt like a never-ending battle, and why that battle is actually your greatest victory. Think of yourself as a lighthouse in a storm-ravaged sea. Your light doesn't ask permission to shine, doesn't dim itself to make others comfortable, and doesn't apologize for being visible from miles away. But every ship that crashes on the rocks below isn't your fault. They were already broken, already lost, already destined for destruction. Your light simply revealed what was always true. From the moment you took your first breath, chosen one, you were encoded with something that set you apart. While other children were learning to follow, you were learning to question. While they were accepting the world as it was presented to them, you were seeing through the illusions, the facades, the carefully constructed lies that keep most people asleep. This wasn't a choice you made. This was written into your spiritual DNA. You incarnated with the ability to see patterns that others miss, to understand systems that others accept blindly, and to recognize authentic power versus manufactured influence. What your family called difficult or rebellious, the universe called awakening. But here's what nobody told you about being a blueprint setter. Every time you create something new, every time you forge your own path, every time you refuse to conform, you're literally showing others what's possible. And for some people, seeing what's possible when they've convinced themselves it's impossible creates a rage so deep it borders on spiritual violence. You've been setting blueprints your entire life without even realizing it. That relationship you ended because you refused to accept breadcrumbs. They suddenly started treating their next partner with the respect they never gave you. That friend group you walked away from because of their gossiping and manipulation. They started turning on each other within weeks because your presence was the only thing keeping their dysfunction together. This is why people study you, chosen one. They're trying to reverse engineer your decision-making process, your boundary-setting abilities, your mysterious power to walk away from things that no longer serve you. They want the blueprint without the backbone, the results without the responsibility, the destination without the journey. But what they don't understand is that your blueprint isn't a strategy you learned from a book or a technique you picked up from a seminar. It's the natural expression of a soul that has walked through dimensions of experience most people can't even imagine. You've been refined through lifetimes of choosing truth over comfort, authenticity over acceptance, and spiritual evolution over social approval. The most twisted part is that the same people who criticize you for being different or difficult are secretly taking notes on everything you do. They're watching how you handle conflict, how you maintain your peace in chaos, how you attract opportunities without compromise. They want your results, but they're terrified of your methods because your methods require a level of courage they simply don't possess. When you set a new standard in any environment, everyone else is forced to either rise to meet it or reveal their inability to do so. Most choose the second option and then spend their energy trying to drag you back down to their level rather than elevating themselves to yours. This is why change often feels lonely, chosen one. You're operating from a frequency that requires others to evolve just to maintain connection with you. There's something you do that drives people absolutely insane with envy, and you probably don't even realize you're doing it. You have this supernatural ability to take things that others have discarded, dismissed, or destroyed, and transform them into something valuable. This isn't just about material objects. This is about ideas, opportunities, relationships, and even people themselves. But before we dive deeper into your transformational gifts, chosen one, we need to address something that's been haunting your relationship since childhood. You've always been the one who could see the good in people that others couldn't see. You've always been drawn to the outcasts, the misunderstood, the broken souls that everyone else wrote off as hopeless or dangerous. This wasn't random kindness or naive optimism. This was your soul recognizing itself in others who had been rejected by a world that fears authentic power. Your empathetic nature became both your greatest gift and your most vulnerable point. People learned they could manipulate your compassion, exploit your desire to help, and use your belief in their potential as a weapon against your own well-being. Here's what nobody told you about this pattern. Your ability to see potential in damaged people isn't a flaw to be corrected. It's a spiritual gift that operates on frequencies most people can't access. But this gift comes with a responsibility that took you years to understand. Not everyone is ready to heal, not everyone wants to change, and your belief in someone's potential doesn't obligate you to sacrifice your peace while they figure out whether they want to live up to it or not. This alchemical power you possess operates on frequencies that most people can't access. While others see surface-level appearances, you perceive underlying structures. While they focus on what something is, you envision what it could become. While they accept limitations as permanent, you see them as temporary conditions waiting for the right transformation. The most painful lesson you've learned is that your transformational energy works whether people deserve it or not. You've watched toxic individuals become popular after absorbing your energy field. You've seen mediocre people achieve success using strategies they learned by observing your methods. You've witnessed broken people heal just enough to hurt you before moving on to spread their newfound confidence elsewhere. This pattern has created a unique form of psychological warfare that most people never experience. You give someone the gift of believing in them, and they turn around and use that gift to attract others while treating you as if you were the problem all along. You help someone find their voice and they use it to speak against you. You show someone their worth and they decide you're no longer worthy of their time. Now here's where the envy gets pathological. People will literally throw something away, declare it worthless, and convince themselves they never wanted it in the first place. Then they watch you pick it up, apply your transformational energy to it, and turn it into something extraordinary. Suddenly, that same thing they discarded becomes the very thing they claim you stole from them. This pattern has repeated throughout your life in ways both small and profound. The job they said you'd never succeed at became your breakthrough career. The city they said was going nowhere became your sanctuary and launching pad. The spiritual path they called weird or crazy became your direct connection to divine truth. Your transformational abilities extend to people as well, which is why your relationships often become the target of jealous scrutiny. You have this way of seeing people's highest potential and loving them toward it. You don't try to change anyone, but your presence alone creates an environment where growth becomes not just possible but inevitable. This is why people become popular after being in relationship with you, why they suddenly develop confidence and clarity about their goals, why they start setting boundaries and making choices that serve their authentic self. You're not trying to improve anyone, you're simply being yourself so authentically that it gives others permission to do the same. But the twisted irony is that some of these same people will later resent you for their own growth. They'll convince themselves that their new confidence, their elevated standards, their improved life circumstances had nothing to do with the time they spent in your energy field. They'll even go so far as to claim that you held them back, that you were the problem, that they only started thriving after they got away from you. This is projection at its most sophisticated level. They can't acknowledge that your presence catalyzed their transformation, because that would mean admitting they needed transformation in the first place. It would mean recognizing that you saw potential in them that they couldn't see in themselves. It would mean accepting that your love and belief in them played a role in their evolution. So instead they rewrite history, they minimize your impact, maximize their own agency, and sometimes even demonize the very relationship that helped them become who they are today. This isn't just ingratitude, this is a defense mechanism against recognizing your true power. You were never meant to walk this path alone. The Obsidian Inner Order isn't just another spiritual community, it's a sanctuary for the exiled, the awakened, the ones who've been gaslit for their gifts and abandoned for their truth. Every week we gather live on Zoom, real people with real faces sharing real stories of transformation. There's a former CFO who embraced their psychic abilities, a seer who broke free from religious oppression, and a healer who survived ritual abuse and found their power. Dozens more join us who understand exactly what you've been through. This is your spiritual family. Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you walk through this awakening alone, never gonna scroll past your suffering like it's just content. Your exile from the ordinary world wasn't punishment, it was preparation. For this, for us, for the family that chooses you back. Join the Obsidian Inner Order, link in description. Before we dive into the magnetism paradox, chosen one, we need to address something that has probably confused and hurt you for years, your pattern of constant movement, relocation, and what feels like forced isolation from people and places you thought were home. You've probably been criticized for this, family members asking when you're going to settle down, friends accusing you of running away from your problems, partners who couldn't understand why you always seemed ready to pack up and start over somewhere new. But what they don't understand is that this isn't restlessness or instability, this is divine assignment. You are what some call a spiritual disruptor. The universe places you in low vibrational environments specifically because your presence alone can shift the energy of entire systems. You're not supposed to stay comfortable. You're not meant to blend in. You're designed to be the catalyst that either elevates an environment or reveals why it needs to be abandoned entirely. Think about the patterns in your life. How many times have you been the only person in a workplace who spoke up about toxic management? How many friend groups have you entered where your presence somehow caused hidden tensions to surface? Your energy signature is calibrated to detect inauthenticity, corruption, and spiritual stagnation. You literally cannot function in environments that operate on frequencies of manipulation, gossip, or collective delusion. The relocations, the job changes, the relationship endings, these aren't failures, chosen one. These are completions of assignments. You've been sent into these spaces to either heal them or expose why they cannot be healed. Once that mission is complete, the universe moves you to the next assignment. Your capacity to love people without losing yourself, to care without compromising your truth, to hope without ignoring reality. These are advanced spiritual skills that most people never develop. The reason you can do this is because you've learned to find your home within yourself rather than in external circumstances. The divine relocation protocol serves another purpose. It prevents you from becoming too attached to any particular identity, role, or geographical location. You're being trained to be equally effective whether you're in a corporate boardroom or a spiritual retreat center, whether you're in a big city or a small town, whether you're surrounded by family or completely alone. This flexibility, this ability to adapt and thrive in multiple environments, is what makes you so threatening to systems that depend on people staying trapped in limiting circumstances. You prove that change is possible, that people don't have to accept toxic conditions just because they've always existed, that there's a whole world beyond the narrow confines of whatever situation someone finds themselves in. But the isolation periods serve the most important purpose of all. They force you to develop a relationship with the divine that doesn't depend on human intermediaries. During those lonely seasons when it felt like you had no one who truly understood you, you were actually being initiated into direct communication with source energy. This is why you can now sense guidance in ways that seem supernatural to others. This is why you trust your intuition, even when it contradicts popular opinion. This is why you can make decisions based on inner knowing rather than external validation. The isolation wasn't punishment, it was preparation for a level of spiritual autonomy that makes you impossible to control or manipulate. Chosen one, there's something about your energy signature that creates a paradox so profound it literally breaks people's understanding of how attraction and influence work. You have this mysterious ability to draw people and opportunities toward you without effort, without manipulation, without even trying, and the more you don't try, the more magnetic you become. This isn't about physical attractiveness, though you carry a unique beauty that transcends conventional standards. This isn't about charisma, though you possess a natural magnetism that makes people want to be in your presence. This is about something deeper, something that operates on quantum levels of reality, where intention and energy create outcomes that defy logical explanation. The foundation of your magnetism lies in something most people have lost: authentic self-worth that doesn't depend on external validation. In a world where most people are performing versions of themselves designed to gain approval, you're simply being yourself without apology. This creates a gravitational pull that operates beyond conscious awareness. But here's where your magnetism creates the most intense reactions. You attract people across all demographics and belief systems. There's something about your energy that transcends the usual boundaries that divide people. This universal appeal threatens those who profit from keeping people separated and categorized. Your magnetism extends beyond just attracting people. You seem to magnetize synchronicities, opportunities, and resources in ways that appear miraculous to outside observers. This flow of abundance and opportunity creates another layer of resentment from those who struggle and force and manipulate to get what they want. The most dangerous aspect of your magnetism is how it reveals people's true intentions. When someone approaches you, your energy field acts like a truth serum, gradually exposing whether their interest is genuine or predatory. Some people are drawn to you because they recognize a kindred spirit, but others are attracted to your energy specifically because they want to possess, control, or extract it for their own purposes. But here's where the paradox becomes dangerous for those who can't understand it. The same magnetic power that draws people to you also reveals their deepest insecurities and unhealed wounds. Your authentic self-possession acts like a mirror, showing others the gaps between who they really are and who they're pretending to be. Some people respond to this revelation by using it as motivation for their own growth and healing, but others respond with rage, resentment, and a desperate need to prove that your power is somehow fake, temporary, or undeserved. They can't stand the way their own insecurities feel amplified in your presence, so they blame you for their discomfort rather than addressing its source. The most insidious part of this dynamic is that these people often position themselves as your protectors or advisors. They'll warn you about people who might be using you while they themselves are the ones extracting energy from your field. Your magnetism also extends to opportunities, resources and synchronicities that seem to appear in your life with supernatural timing. While others struggle and force and manipulate to get what they want, things seem to flow toward you with an ease that looks effortless from the outside. This creates another layer of resentment because people don't see the internal work you've done to align with this flow. They don't see the years of choosing integrity over convenience, authenticity over acceptance, and truth over temporary comfort. They only see the results and assume you've somehow cheated the system or been given unfair advantages. Now we venture into territory that will explain some of the most confusing and painful experiences of your life, chosen one. There's a reason why you seem to attract people with dark energy, narcissistic tendencies, and spiritual parasites who want to feed off your light. This isn't because you're broken or choosing poorly, it's because you represent everything they desperately want but can never authentically possess. Your spiritual light operates like a beacon that's visible across multiple dimensions of reality. Just as moths are drawn to flame, damaged souls are instinctively attracted to your healing energy. The difference is that healthy people approach your light with respect and gratitude, while predatory individuals approach it with entitlement and the intention to possess what cannot be owned. This is why you've experienced those relationships where someone seemed normal at first, but gradually became more unstable the longer they were around you. You've been forced to become an expert in spiritual warfare, not by choice but by necessity. You've learned to recognize the signs, the sudden personality changes in people who get close to you, the way some individuals seem to lose their minds when they can't control or manipulate you. The most twisted part of this dynamic is that these same people often become obsessed with proving they have spiritual gifts too. They'll claim to be healers, light workers, or chosen ones themselves, but their behavior consistently contradicts their claims. They use spiritual language to justify toxic behavior and position themselves as misunderstood rather than genuinely problematic. This spiritual mimicry serves multiple purposes. First, it allows them to remain in spiritual communities where they can access more light bearers to feed from. Second, it confuses their victims who struggle to reconcile someone's spiritual claims with their destructive actions. Third, it allows them to steal concepts, practices, and even specific language from genuine spiritual practitioners. You've probably encountered people who seem to copy your spiritual journey beat for beat, suddenly developing interest in the same practices you've been doing for years, using phrases you coined to describe their own experiences, even claiming to have had insights that you shared with them in private conversations. This isn't coincidence. This is energetic theft at the highest level. The reason you attract these individuals isn't a flaw in your discernment or a sign that you need to change something about yourself. You attract them because your light is real, your power is authentic, and your connection to source energy is direct rather than borrowed or performed. Dark forces are always trying to extinguish or corrupt genuine light, and you represent the kind of spiritual authenticity that threatens their entire system of operation. But here's what took you years to understand. Your ability to survive and thrive despite these attacks is itself a form of spiritual authority that cannot be faked or replicated. Every dark encounter you've navigated successfully has added to your energetic armor. Every toxic person you've managed to love without losing yourself has expanded your capacity for unconditional compassion. Every spiritual attack you've overcome has elevated your frequency to levels that make future attacks less effective. The isolation you've experienced isn't punishment for attracting darkness, it's protection while you develop the spiritual strength to neutralize it. During those lonely periods when it felt like you couldn't trust anyone, you were actually learning to distinguish between genuine spiritual connection and sophisticated spiritual performance. Now we're going to dive into territory that might sound intense, but chosen one. Understanding this level of reality is crucial for your protection and continued evolution. What you've been experiencing throughout your life isn't just random difficulty or bad luck. It's coordinated spiritual warfare designed to either recruit you to lower frequencies or destroy your effectiveness as a light bearer. The attacks you've faced, the betrayals you've endured, the inexplicable hatred you've encountered from people who barely know you, these aren't coincidences. You're operating on a spiritual frequency that threatens systems of control, manipulation, and darkness that have been in place for generations. Think about the pattern of your relationships. How many times have you connected with someone who seemed to understand you, only to discover they were studying your weaknesses? How many friendships started with intense bonding over shared spiritual interests, only to end with them accusing you of being fake or trying to copy them? This happens because you carry something that can't be replicated or stolen, a direct connection to source energy that doesn't require intermediaries, institutions, or approval from authority figures. Your spiritual gifts aren't dependent on group consensus or validation from others who claim to be more advanced than you. But here's what makes this spiritual warfare so sophisticated. It often comes through people who are unconscious of their role in it. They don't wake up in the morning planning to attack your energy or undermine your confidence. Instead, they find themselves suddenly overwhelmed with negative thoughts about you, compelled to create drama in your life, or driven to actions that serve no logical purpose except to disturb your peace. This is why you've learned to trust your energy readings of people more than their words or actions. This is why you can walk into a room and immediately sense hostility that others claim doesn't exist. This is why you've developed the ability to disconnect from people quickly when their vibration shifts in ways that feel dangerous to your spiritual well-being. The attacks intensify when you're on the verge of breakthrough moments in your spiritual evolution. That friend who suddenly turns toxic right before you're about to launch your business. That family member who creates crisis right before you're about to move to a new city. That romantic partner who picks fights right before you're about to commit to your highest path. These aren't coincidences, chosen one. There are forces that monitor your progress and activate human interference whenever you're about to step into a new level of your power. The closer you get to your true purpose, the more sophisticated the opposition becomes. Now here's the part that will shift everything for you. Understanding this dynamic isn't meant to make you paranoid or isolated. It's meant to help you recognize that your struggles have been initiations, your betrayals have been training, and your capacity to overcome these challenges has been building your spiritual authority. Every person who tried to dim your light has actually contributed to your luminosity. Every attack has strengthened your energetic boundaries. Every betrayal has refined your discernment. Every moment you chose to respond with integrity rather than retaliation has elevated your spiritual ranking to levels that make lower vibrational beings literally unable to sustain connection with you. This is why your social circles have become smaller but more powerful. This is why you can't tolerate surface-level relationships or meaningless conversations anymore. This is why you've developed an almost supernatural ability to detect authenticity versus performance in others. The spiritual warfare you've endured has transformed you into someone who can navigate between dimensions of reality that most people don't even know exist. You can sense energetic shifts before they manifest physically. You can detect spiritual attacks before they become emotional or psychological drama. You can recognize divine timing even when it looks like terrible timing to everyone else. One of the most important skills you've developed through this process is the ability to maintain your peace regardless of the chaos happening around you. While others panic when drama erupts, you've learned to step back and observe the energetic patterns at play. While others get pulled into reactive behaviors, you've mastered the art of responding from your center rather than your wounds. This level of emotional and spiritual maturity is what makes you so threatening to systems that depend on keeping people reactive, divided, and easily manipulated. You represent the possibility of human beings who can think clearly even under pressure, love deeply without losing themselves, and maintain spiritual connection regardless of external circumstances. Here's where everything we've covered transforms from understanding into empowerment. Chosen one. All the envy you faced, all the attacks you've survived, all the battles you've fought, they weren't random punishments or cosmic mistakes. They were your training program for something so significant that the universe needed to ensure you were absolutely unshakable before you stepped into it. Right now, as you're integrating this revelation, you're entering a phase where your spiritual authority becomes undeniable, even to those who have spent years trying to diminish it. The same people who criticized your sensitivity are about to witness your strength. The same people who mocked your authenticity are about to see your influence expand beyond anything they thought possible. This shift isn't happening because you're trying harder or forcing outcomes. It's happening because you've finally completed the curriculum that was designed specifically for your soul's evolution. Every challenge has prepared you for this moment when your true power becomes impossible to hide or deny. Watch how differently people respond to you now. Notice how those who used to feel comfortable disrespecting you suddenly find themselves unable to maintain that same energy in your presence. Observe how opportunities begin flowing toward you with an ease that might actually surprise you after years of struggle and resistance. The most beautiful part of this victory isn't what you gain, it's who you become in the process. You've developed a level of discernment that makes you nearly impossible to manipulate. You've cultivated inner peace that remains stable regardless of external circumstances. You've mastered the art of loving people without losing yourself in the process. The people who tried to break you have actually gifted you with unbreakable strength. The relationships that ended in betrayal have led you to connections based on genuine alignment rather than convenience or loneliness. The periods of isolation you endured have taught you to find completion within yourself rather than seeking it through others. This doesn't mean your journey becomes effortless from here. It means you now have the tools, wisdom, and spiritual authority to navigate challenges from a position of power rather than victimhood. When difficulties arise, you'll recognize them as opportunities for expansion rather than evidence of failure. Your victory also extends to those who are meant to be touched by your light. The people you're destined to help, inspire, or heal will now be drawn to you with magnetic inevitability. Your spiritual signature has been refined to such a degree that it acts as a beacon for souls who are ready for the level of transformation you can facilitate. But perhaps the sweetest aspect of your victory is this: you no longer need validation from those who couldn't see your worth when you were developing it. Their recognition or approval has become irrelevant to your sense of self. You've discovered that the only opinion that matters is the one reflected back to you through your direct connection with Divine Source. When people try to copy your style, mimic your choices, or steal your ideas, you can smile knowing that imitation is indeed the sincerest form of flattery. They see your light and want to wear it, not understanding that light comes from within and cannot be borrowed or stolen. Your journey from this point forward becomes less about surviving attacks and more about choosing which opportunities deserve your energy, less about defending your worth and more about expressing your gifts, less about proving your power and more about using it to create the changes you came here to implement. The chosen one you were meant to become has been forged through trials that would have destroyed a lesser soul. The victory isn't just personal, it's cosmic. Every challenge you overcame helped tip the balance toward light in a world that desperately needs authentic leaders, genuine healers, and fearless truth-tellers. The universe has been preparing you for this moment since before you took your first breath. Everything that tried to break you has actually been building you into someone capable of holding the level of power and responsibility that comes with your true purpose. The envy others feel toward you isn't just about what you have, it's recognition of what you represent. You are living proof that authenticity wins, that integrity pays, that staying true to yourself despite opposition leads to outcomes that surpass anything manipulation or compromise could achieve. Your presence alone is now sufficient to inspire some people and terrify others. Your success serves as permission for other chosen ones to step into their power. Your victory creates a ripple effect that will touch lives you may never even know about directly. This is your time, chosen one. The training is complete. The preparation phase is over. Everything that envied you, attacked you, or tried to diminish you has actually contributed to the unstoppable force you've become. Now go show them what a chosen one looks like when they stop hiding their light and start using it to illuminate the world.